Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Smason, and welcome once again to NOLA Theater Talk. This is part of our outreach to the New Orleans theater community and part of our Facebook group that we started up called NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. We also broadcast to the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, not to be confused with the Facebook page, not to be confused with the actual website, theatercriticism.com, which I founded, but which does not broadcast any of these particular broadcasts. And again, we also broadcast over our YouTube channel that you can look up either by my name or by the previous name that we utilized for that. Those of you who are interested in making a comment tonight or who want to leave a question behind in the comments, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. StreamYard's the process, the venue that we use for this show. And Facebook and probably YouTube too wants to have your permission to use your name if I put up a name of a person making a comment or a question. So let's get started. It's a little bit after 8. We have a full evening tonight. And again, this is a little bit of a deviation for us. Normally, it's a theater show. It deals with theaters. It deals with directors and actors. If there's any one person that I can think of in the New Orleans musical scene who I tend to think of as theatrical in many ways, it would be the subject of the film that just won Best Cinematography at the New Orleans Film Festival. And that would be Nobody May Come. And it's a film all about local pop sensation Valerie Sassyfras. Now, I'm going to bring in the filmmakers in just a couple of seconds, but I should tell you, for transparency, I grew up with Valerie. Valerie was in the same homeroom as me back at my high school. We had many mutual friends, and I'll go so far as to tell everybody the story that I actually was a DJ at her first wedding, and I filled in the music there. So I will. I'll just say that right out from the beginning. I've known her a long time, more of my life than I probably know a lot of other people. So those of you who are wondering, why we're deviating a little bit, it's because I know Valerie, and because I also know that this particular film, which won, as I said, the Best Cinematography at the New Orleans Film Festival, is something that everybody should see. In my estimation, it's a wonderful tribute to the artist, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to get an insight into Valerie's life and what makes her tick. So let me, without any further ado, bring in the first of our filmmakers, and ladies first. And Ella, please make sure that I get the pronunciation right. Is it Hatamian or is it Hatam? How do you pronounce it, please?
It's Ella Hatamian.
Hatamian, okay.
Yeah, easier than it looks.
Yeah, you know what? I just didn't want to listen, my name gets messed up worse than you'd ever want to know. And basically, I want to thank you for coming to the show. So again, Ella, and that's the way you spell it. And you're originally from where?
From Los Angeles.
So you're living in Los Angeles as a filmmaker. So you were exposed to the film industry a long time, I take it.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. I mean, I was and I wasn't. My dad's a civil engineer. My mom is a real estate agent. So
you got it.
Skipped a generation.
By osmosis, I guess.
Yeah. My grandpa was a photographer. He was a photographer in Iran, which is pretty cool. So I guess it skips a generation.
Well, I want to thank you for being the first non-theater person to be here. But again, as I said, there's a lot of theater in Valerie and her act, and a lot of what you brought out, I think, really is fantastic in sort of capturing her essence. So,
I mean, as a disclaimer, Stephen and I did meet in theater school at NYU.
There you go. Is it Tisch? Was that where you were?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
no, we were Playwrights Horizons.
And of course, here in New Orleans, we have the NOLA Theater Project. I don't know if you know any of those guys, but almost every one of them who came down to New Orleans were from Tisch. They came down right before Katrina, around 2005.
Oh, awesome. Stephen would probably know more about that.
So speaking of Stephen, let me go ahead and bring him into this. Is your partner, co-producer, co-director, and does much of the heavy lifting, as do you. I think you all split a lot of the duties, but Stiven Luka. Stiven, welcome to the show. Want to thank you for being here as well. Wow. Now you lived here in New Orleans, though. You actually knew about Valerie, not just from you know, I guess you might say from the people on the street who knew about her or whatever, but you actually had seen some of her performances, had you not?
Yeah, it was. I went in carte blanche. I didn't know anything about Valerie when I went to see her at, I think it was Siberia, and I wasn't there to see her. I was there to see another performer, and then Valerie's set came on, and you know, the rest is, I don't want to say history, but it's something along those lines.
Well, again, because of your knowledge of that, when it came time to do the documentary, you suggested, I believe, to Ella, another project was sort of on the table and sort of fell off the table, if it will, that basically didn't actually happen. And you said, well, why don't we do Valerie Sassyfras, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were doing another project when we were in New York, and I remember I had a friend who asked me that, and he said, you know, are you having fun? And I said, you know what? I said, I don't want to lie, but I said, I'm struggling right now. And he said, you know, movies should be fun. If you're into making movies, you should have fun. And it kind of stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm not having fun with this project. We were having a lot of, it just felt like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And it's, you know, it was when stars aligned, this was the opposite of that.
Right.
Stars were not aligning. And so we felt like we just had to, you know, jump ship. And it was during one of these afternoons where we had nothing to do, and we were in New York at my cousin's place, and we were like, what are we doing? Where are we headed? And I said, well, actually, have you seen Valerie? Because this is someone that I saw perform in New Orleans a bunch of times. And she said, no, who is this? So I showed her the videos, and I think Ella was, you know, enthralled.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be enthralled about. First off, as everybody knows, in this particular studio, when people come in, we all have a drink. Tonight, I am having, and I told you guys ahead of time, is a Boulevardier, which is basically a cousin of the Negroni. Instead of using gin, you use 1.5 ounces of bourbon, and then 1 ounce each of Campari and sweet vermouth. You stir it, never shaken, and then you garnish it with a little bit of a orange peel there, and that's my take on it. Some people garnish it with an orange slice, but slices sort of get in the way of the drink, I think, sometimes. So, what did you bring to the room, Ella?
I brought a Coca-Cola from Mexico.
Is it made with real sugar? That's the difference, right?
It is. It is. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm a canned Coke girl.
Really?
I think the best Coke is McDonald's fountain Coke. Then, like in a can from the gas station.
I remember getting Coca-Cola in the 6.5 ounce bottles, the traditional bottle that was sort of like that. You know what I'm talking about? 6.5 ounces, and it was so. It was made with real sugar at the time, and when you take the pop top off, you know, it had all the fizz, et cetera, in it, and just so much sugar, et cetera. And then they changed the formula. They brought out the new Coke. And when they brought the old Coke back after popular demand, they got away with the new Coke. They said, no more new Coke. They changed the formulation to not have sugar anymore. They had, at that point, they had corn syrup solids. So the real Coke people like you, real Coke lovers, will go with the real sugar. And by the way, I'm Jewish. And just so you know, right before Passover every year, they bring out the kosher for Passover Coke. You can tell it's got a yellow top on top. That's the stuff that they make it just for the people so they don't violate Passover. And that's got real sugar in it. So, yes, I'm happy to impart my wisdom. And you don't have to be Jewish to drink it. So there you go. Let's just back up a little bit. When did you actually come to New Orleans? And I assume that you had to have some kind of release from Valerie before you got started. And we're going to actually have her in a little bit. So those of you who are interested in seeing her, stand by. She's coming soon. She's coming soon. So you had to come down, I guess, and get a release, explain to her what the project was going to be, and then get her permission, I guess, to to point a camera in her face for the next, what, almost 2 years or year and a half? How long was it?
It was over a year. Ella actually went down first, and she saw her at Wednesdays on the Point, or is that what it's called? Wednesdays on the Point?
Yeah, Wednesdays on the Point.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we had this idea, and then I just flew down, and I was like, yeah, we gotta meet her in person. I haven't seen her, so Steven was like gung ho about it. He's, let's do it. It's like, well, let me go check it out. And then I saw her performing, met her manager Adam, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. This is great.
So you went up to her and you introduced yourself as a filmmaker, but I think that maybe she didn't believe that you were actually going to do a film, that there was some period of time between.
Steven's boyfriend at the time, Sean, he is one of our associate producers. He was the one who went up to Valerie after Steven and Sean had first seen her playing at, I don't know, Lebanon Cafe or Siberia, and said, my boyfriend's going to make a movie about you. And she's like, I thought he was full of shit. And so when I flew down, I think she still thought I was full of shit. And what we were originally going to do was just shoot a sizzle and see if we could, like maybe get funding, whatever. But we ended up just going there every month for a week. Like I would say every 6 weeks we went for a week. So we filmed over the course of a year and some change.
But I mean, you were really intimate. I mean, there are some scenes, and we're going to show a clip right now before I bring her in. But you were really intimate in terms of some of the scenes that were shot in her apartment, on her bed, in various spots where she's eating, and things of that sort, which are really almost semi, like private moments that she actually opened up to you all. So it's hard, I think, to ask somebody to really do that unless they go full bolt into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously developed a relationship as the year went on, a closer relationship. Steven, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always felt we didn't want to make it about us, and we didn't want to be at the center of the film, because we're obviously juggling so many different things, and we didn't want it to be, in addition to being behind the camera, we didn't want to be in front of it. But we always felt that we had to be true to what our relationship was. And we felt like if we didn't portray that, then it was going to feel like this copy or something like this. It was going to feel not real to what it was to us. And it felt like from the get-go that Valerie didn't want us to be voyeurs. She didn't want us to be just observing her, which was like kind of an initial conversation that we had, that we would just follow her. And then, so when you say these moments are private, in a way they are, but they're also, to me, not so private, because they're these kind of, I would think of them more as like shared spaces. They're spaces that we inhabit together. And of course, to people who are not used to watching people eat food, or do all these activities that are so rudimentary, they might feel like this feels so personal.
Yeah.
And I think that, and maybe it comes into maybe it's like a perverse thing of like, I hate being the only person at the table who's eating, because I hate this kind of thing where people are just watching me. And so I think maybe there was a little bit of that in there, where I wanted to have just one person eating and the rest of us are just observing.
Was there any one point where you were filming where you thought it got to be maybe too personal, where there was I know there were a lot of family issues that she went through, involving very, very touching scenes, dealing with loss of members and things of that sort. I mean, were there ever any points in the film, without giving anything away, where you felt like maybe you needed to pull back? Well,
I think, and maybe Ella can speak further on this, but I think that it's in her music. I mean, that was what part of the big, I don't think that there's anything in the film that's not in the music. I think it all was culled from the music. And these stories are usually shared as interludes or as intros, or they're very blatantly in the lyrics. But that's not usually what people who listen to Valerie Sassyfras, they don't say like, hey, you got to listen to this woman who's talking about the loss of her husband. They say, you know, come and listen to this woman who sings about shaking, you know. They might also do that, you know, but the draw is the pop sentiment of it. But we were also interested not just in the booty dancing, but we were also interested in the story as it was portrayed in her music that she writes.
So I actually did some more downloads while you were talking, but they're not working. So I'm going to do it the way that I wanted to do. Let me show this one scene that we had prior that I'd started off with, and we'll just sort of get this thing going, and we'll show one of the scenes from the film. I'll get it started, and I'll get it ready to share out. I'm sorry that it can't be. Sorry that it can't be a little bit less wonky, you know, but that's just the way it is. Let me just go ahead and share that out, and it'll give me a second. Again, this is Nobody May Come, and I'm going to share this thing out, so hopefully we can share the audio out. Everybody will be able to hear. And again, just a reminder, guys, that your mics will be hot still, so you know, we don't want to talk amongst ourselves if we can get away with it. You should be able to see it now.
Wow, nobody may come, huh? All right, let me show you what I need you to do. All right, so you're going to do the amp and the feathers and the whips, right? All right. And you make sure you turn off the accordion. You make sure everything's turned off. But before you close up that wireless case, I usually get little butterflies before, but I mean, I still have to concentrate when I'm performing. And sometimes I'll forget, well, where am I in the song? And what key is the song in again? You know, all this stuff will go through my head. It's a job just to concentrate and try to remember where I am. What's coming next? What choreography is coming next? All of that.
So there you have it. That's the beginning of the scenes that we're going to show. And again, I want to thank you, Ella and Steven, for doing that. And that sort of leads us to bringing in the subject of the story. Again, I can tell you that I've known her a long time. I actually have a picture here from Piccadilly Cafeteria when she was performing there. And this particular picture, blown up, was utilized for the lead picture, if you will, the cover picture in the story that I actually won an award for from the Press Club of New Orleans, dealing with Valerie a few years ago. So let's bring her into the stream. And again, I want to thank her for being here with us again tonight. And again, without any further ado, let us bring in the one, the only Valerie Sassyfras. There you go.
Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome, Valerie. How are you doing?
Hey, great to see y'all. Great to see you, Ellen, Steven.
We were talking about
Yeah.
you, girl. So we have everybody in the room now. And again, the name of the film is Nobody May Come. And that was taken right there from that little scene, wasn't it? Nobody May Come.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to everybody, the filmmakers, Ella and Steven mostly, but that was the title that y'all came up with. But it was something you all were working on for a while. I understand that you didn't come up with the exact title until that time, right?
Yeah, it's something that she says, and actually the scene right before that. And you know, we waited for it to come. The title, it always presents itself, and yeah, that's one of the earlier scenes in the film. I think it's like maybe at the 5-6 minute mark.
Right, very early. Now, at the time of the New Orleans Film Festival, Valerie had not yet seen the film that you knew of, and you had not talked to her. Have you seen the film? Obviously, Valerie, you've seen it since that time, right? Had you seen it?
I saw the film before it was shown.
Oh, you had? Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The interview that we did for New Orleans Film Fest was prior to the festival. That's at that point she hadn't seen it.
Right. So
that was like a good 2 months before it premiered. And then in that interim, she saw it
Gotcha.
a couple of times.
That makes sense. Valerie, what are you drinking tonight?
An undisclosed drink in my cup here.
Undisclosed. What is it? What is it? A fictitious drink?
It's undisclosed.
Well, what is it made with?
Well, then I would be telling you what it is. You said
That's the idea.
not a drink.
That's the idea. Well, you're gonna have to prove it's a drink. You're gonna have to drink it.
I can do that.
That's all. That's all there. You know.
Let's hear if there's any liquid.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can pretend you got something there.
Well, I'm not that good an actor, Alan.
I beg to differ. All right. Well, we now have Valerie in the room, and I'm going to try to get these other clips up. As I said, again, did you all enter this aside from New Orleans? Did you enter it in any other film festivals, or was New Orleans the first?
We did, but it was not a complete cut. I mean, obviously this year is crazy. We submitted like a work in progress, but our goal was to have it premiere at New Orleans Film Festival, because I mean, it is such an amazing festival. I've had a movie there before. They did such a good job, and that was like one of our major goals for the film.
And I guess I got to ask, were you surprised that you won the Best Cinematography Award? I mean, you probably weren't that surprised because you probably felt your work was up to it. But were you surprised when they did announce that you had won?
Yeah, we were surprised. I mean, we weren't thinking that. We weren't thinking about the. We never saw it in terms of any technical achievement. We just thought, where does the technical mishaps hurt the story? That was what our concern was. So it wasn't like this thing about like telling the story, visually in any, in a way that we felt like, would merit an award. And we were in that mindset. So it was a surprise.
Well, were there any scenes that you, for space limitations, for time considerations, that you had to cut that you really wish had been incorporated into the final cut?
Many.
Okay. Were they live performances, or were they more or less some of the personal side of her story?
There were multiple different venues in New Orleans. Valerie even came with us to New York. We went to New York, and that was a whole subsection of the film, and that just ended up on the cutting floor. But that was a whole experience, and we had a great time filming. And Valerie hadn't been there since she'd last been there with Johnny. But prior to that, she went to school at FIT. That's correct, right, Valerie?
I went to school at FIT, and I hadn't been in New York in many years. And the last time I was there was with Johnny, and so it was a great memory,
Yeah,
and it also felt like, in a non-intellectual way, it felt like me being from New York, Ella being from LA, Valerie from New Orleans. It was kind of like this connection that I realized only after we had been to New York. I was like, of course this would be it, but ultimately it didn't serve the story. There was,
FIT had some musical people that came out of it. Didn't David Byrne come out of FIT?
Not that I know of.
I thought maybe so. Well, I have to go back and check.
I don't know.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think he did. In any event, let me before we get to a clip, I want to show off a little bit of some of this is at the Always. This was shot, I think, in 2015. Pretty early on in Valerie's career, but you can see a little bit of the stage curtains that they had behind her that she put up, rocking that accordion there, doing a little bit of I guess like a little hand jive there, and then I think you had actually a mandolin you were playing too.
Right.
So, and that's a pretty good shot. I think I'm kind of happy with that shot.
Yeah, you take some good pictures, Alan.
Well, thank you. Well,
I emailed you the scenes if you want to.
I did. The problem is that for some reason they're showing up gray on my Mac, and it's like they're there but they're not there, and I don't even want to go there. but I can get them the big.
Don't go there, Alan.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
go.
Don't go there.
sometimes, you know, when you go Mac, you wish you'd go back somewhere else. I'm a Windows guy from a long time ago, but I love my Mac. So, and I'm a Microsoft certified systems engineer, believe it or not. So I have a lot of worship at both of the altars. So in any event, I just sort of wanted to get that in. I'm going to get the next scene up just so we can move things along. This was one that I think I should be able to find. I just have to make sure that I can get back to where the other scenes were. And oh, yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, this must be one of them I can do. This was one that I think I had up here. Yeah, we did this one already. So let's do this one. See if I can get this one out here. This is again, one that I'm going to try to get a little bit of. I think this is some music rehearsing that you're doing here. And again, this is from Nobody May Come. And again, those of you who have not seen it, it is a film that runs about, what, an hour and a half. And let's see if I can share this screen out and get this thing going as well, and let everybody see and listen to Valerie Sassyfras. And here we go.
Something brewing that I can't control. Defunct river runs to the sea. Little children skip their feet. Oh, backwards music is in my soul. Something brewing that I can't control. Oh, something brewing down in my soul.
And once again, that is Nobody May Come, Valerie Sassyfras, who's here with us tonight, along with the filmmakers, co-directors, co-producers, Ella and Steven. And again, we want to thank anybody who wants to leave a comment or ask a question. We remind everybody, as we did early on in the show, that if they want to do that, they need to leave your permission with StreamYard to do that. StreamYard.com/Facebook, and hopefully we can get your name in there. Again, we were on tonight, as we always are, until 9 o'clock. And I know, Ella, at one point you had said that you might not be able to stay the whole show, but you're welcome to stay as long as you can. But we're so glad that you could be here and be part of this celebration of Valerie, but also the celebration more of your film and getting it out. I've got to imagine that doing a film is much like birthing a child, you know, that you have it, you know, in gestation, and then finally when you release it to the world, it's a tremendous weight that's off of you. However, you also have now the responsibility, as someone would with a kid, of having to make sure that it's you know, properly showcased, and that it gets its due around wherever you're going to be showing it. So I guess my question is now, in what point, you know, is this going to be, you know, in the past, and you're going to start getting your eyes set on something new? When we, or are you already working on new projects?
Well, there's always ideas, but
There's always something brewing.
there's always something. But we're not. At least I don't feel like we are, and maybe Ella feels differently. But we're not yet at the stage where we can really talk about ideas more than just, you know, this kind of mention, or is it, you know, it's too early at a stage to start to have discussions about possible ideas. But yeah, I mean, those are.
But this is the point in time, though, where you're actually going to be entering it in other film festivals, or trying to get it distributed in some way, released.
This would be the point for the films. For the films arc, this would be the point to figure out whether another film festival might be an appropriate place for it, or whether it would get picked up so that people can watch it who weren't able to watch it at the festival.
Gotcha. I guess it'd be appropriate to ask Valerie to chime in now that you've seen it. Any comments one way or the other that you?
I've had a lot of people contact me since the movie that saw it live or saw it online, and said they wanted to buy the movie or they wanted to see it again. And people really enjoyed it. I mean, I got a tremendous reaction from it, and better than I expected, you know. And people will still want to see it. And I was hoping to perform and have the movie as part of a show.
Right.
I can't do that.
Well,
Right?
COVID was sort of, you know, and I'm sure it caused a lot of problems for them in terms of putting the film together. What were some of your challenges, Ella, in terms of living in a COVID era? Final cuts, things of that sort you were doing with?
COVID was honestly great for us putting this film together. I mean, we really buckled down editing. I mean, when I say I worked 1.5 years on a documentary, people go, "Oh my God, that's so long." And I said, "Are you kidding me? That's not long." Like the last documentary I worked on maybe took all in all like 3.5, 4 years. So COVID actually, I think it accelerated our post-production process exponentially. We started basically in March, finished mid-September. So it was about 6 months of post-production. And if anything, it's been rough not being able to, like we said, have Val perform and showcase the film like that. And the festivals are virtual.
Yeah.
But it is cool that some people have been able to watch it who wouldn't have otherwise been able to see it. And we really are relying heavily on sort of word of mouth to promote the film. And at this stage, the more people talk about it to one another and say, "Oh, you have to see this," that's the most valuable sort of promotion that we could ever ask for.
In terms of the life of a documentary, I'd imagine, you know, it's something that you'd have it go around for film festivals, et cetera. What's the ultimate resting place for it? Is it in a streaming service, or is it to be released as a DVD? Both, or is it something that you all, when you have a film like this, do you all still maintain your control over it, or does somebody buy it from you outright and they control it?
You know, you said a baby, and I don't know if I agree about the whole baby analogy, but one thing I might agree with, just like having a baby, at a certain point, you hope to get the hell out of the house.
Understood.
That's where we're at. We're just waiting for it to go to college or do something with his life, you know?
Right. Well, that's, I just don't understand that you know, with the process now, you know, of streaming services. I mean, do they buy these things, or do they, you know, or do you go to a distributor who then leases it for a certain period of time and then it reverts back? I don't know all the legalities of that.
Well, normally you'd have a like my last film, for example, that was at New Orleans Film Festival, I think in 2013 or 2014. It was this movie I produced called Homemakers, and we had a digital distributor, which was Film Buff, which has now been acquired, who put the film on, you know, Amazon, iTunes, and we also had a theatrical distributor, which is Factory 25. And what they do is they also put out like records, like, you know, so they distribute music as well. So the one thing with COVID is now programming it physically in any market is becoming increasingly difficult, because like, who's going to the movies? But I think it is almost to our advantage, because if theaters are going to open up, I think it is going to be smaller theaters.
And COVID may have been one of the best things that ever happened to streaming services, because there's so many people homebound now who might not have bought a streaming service, and now that's all they're doing. They're streaming. They're you know, going through binge one series after another, and they're looking for content. So I think that you all might be in a very good position having a film like this that gets and generates a lot of word of mouth, basically.
Yeah, and the more people, I mean, we've read a couple of really kind like reviews that from people we don't even know, that they posted to Facebook or they've tweeted about. The more that stuff happens, the more essentially desirable it's going to be to a distributor. who wants to, take a gamble on a small film like this.
Yeah.
So
I was saying that there are a number of scenes that not only detail, and again, what was the earliest scenes? I assume was it what 2018 you started shooting?
December, yeah.
All right, so 2018 through December 20. There's a lot that happened in Valerie's life that you document, and obviously documentarians, that's what you do. But some of the things you couldn't script for, things that they came out in the film. And again, here's a simple scene. I want to play this clip. A simple scene of her ordering food, takeout kind of a situation in a car, and it's a simple scene, and yet there's a lot of different layers to it, and a lot that goes on. Let's take a look again. This is from Nobody May Come.
Yes, ma'am. 2-piece dark with large green beans, large mash and gravy, large red beans and rice.
It's spicy or mild.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Spicy or mild.
I still don't know what she said. Oh, spicy or mild? Mild. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Torture.
Yeah. Now, what is ordering chicken necessarily? You kept that in, and tell me. I think I know why, but tell me what you saw in that clip that you wanted to sort of give to your audience that went on in a simple scene like that, Stephen.
You said you think you know why. Could you tell it? Do you mind telling us?
Well, again, I'm not the filmmaker. I was going to ask you to elucidate, but my feeling is that even an act as ordinary as ordering chicken, takes on a different proportion, and that perhaps everyday tasks tend to become a little bit larger than maybe they might. Not actually hearing what she was saying, not connecting, but then connecting and making that spicy or mild. There's a lot that was going on in there, but again, maybe you could tell me why you did it.
Going to Popeyes was part of the film. I mean, like going to I always joke that there's a Popeyes like motif throughout the film, but it's not a joke. There completely is.
It was the glue.
Huh?
It was the glue. It was
in
between each scene that we would often go to Popeyes or pick up from Popeyes. It was the thing that held us together.
Well, there were other things too. There were other scenes. I know Valerie was cooking like eggs, and Val, that was a rather unusual cooking apparatus that you had. What was it, like a copper pot of some sort?
Electric skillet.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen eggs cooked that way before. And you didn't have just one or two; it was like four. I was trying to figure out.
I've back since the movie, but
yeah, I mean it's a high cholesterol diet you're on, baby doll.
right.
Just wondering about that. But yeah, I mean, I picked up on some of the things, and again, I'm not a filmmaker, but again, I look at some of the theatrics and some of the things that go on in it. And again, I just find a lot that goes on in the film evocative of not just mundane, not just ordinary, but that it's Valerie Sassyfras. So there's a different layer to it, than just something that's ordinary. And again, I know your late husband Donald, Johnny Donald, had said that you're Sassafras. That's you. You're spicy and sort of that's sort of your persona. That's your not just your way, it's your way of life, if you will.
That was our band name, Sassafras.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had before I do the next clip, I had some pictures that I took. I believe this was at Melba's. Does that look like Melba's to you? Yeah. So some shots. And anybody who knows Melba's is a place where they have ice cream and fried chicken. I think you can buy 1,000 pieces. I'm talking about chicken. 1,000 pieces of fried chicken at one place. Imagine that.
What was this rumor of Matthew McConaughey signing a book at Melba's? Was that a joke or was that a real thing that happened?
You mean for me? I don't know anything about
I
it.
just saw it on the internet like a couple days ago. Is this real?
I think he's in town. He probably's on. What the heck? I mean,
Was it Melba's or the Outpost across the street? You know how they have like Melba's to go. Which one was it? Because that's important to know.
I have no idea whatsoever. But
He
now,
was the one in the back.
didn't
Yeah, it was the one
Matthew McConaughey film Dallas Buyers Club here? I'm almost positive. So he's been to New Orleans on several occasions.
I'm gonna look it up.
Sure. Yeah. In any event, let me go ahead and play the next clip, if I may. This is a dance rehearsal scene, it says. So let me go ahead and get this one lined up as well. I'll get that all together for you, and I'll share that one out so we can get the thing going as well. And let's see. Yeah, there we go. And whoops, nope, can't do that. Let me go back. Let me stop it. Let me go back one more time. Sorry, if I don't clip a little small thing, a little box, it causes a problem. You don't hear it. So let's go ahead and make sure we share the audio. It's just one of the things that goes on with this. Okay, here we go.
There you go. But you gotta breathe too. Go up a little bit. Look, up, down. There you go. Then the other way. Boom, 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 boom. Now put them together. Back, boom, back, boom, back.
Is the butt going up in a
That's bouncing.
Frida does it in a circle.
That's bouncing.
I can't
bouncing
do that.
Is different than twerking. It's literally this. It's kind of like your feet. Wobbly, 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 wobbly.
I'll have to learn that another time. I can only do one thing at a time.
You just get past it.
Why? You just did it. You forgot it again. Both of you. What's up with
I don't
that?
know. I don't know. We start from the beginning?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your punishment, I guess.
What a cruel taskmaster you are, Valerie. You put your dancers through their paces, don't you?
Yeah,
But I
well,
guess-
you know, they
Yeah.
have to work at least half as hard as you do.
But again,
that-
it's an aspect of the show that you've got. I mean, when I first knew you were doing, your show solo, you didn't have backup dancers. You didn't have your T-Rex and all the other accoutrements that come with the territory now.
It also evolved over time.
Yeah. And now one of the things that they mentioned in the film, and I suspect there was a question about rights and your ability to broadcast it. But of course, the viral video that went on the internet and eventually went on Ellen, and you're being invited on the show. They didn't really show any of the invitation to be on Ellen's show, right? You weren't able to get that footage released or something. Is that possible or what?
What do you mean the invitation?
Wasn't she on the show?
No, it was not on Ellen. They just showed
They just show the clips. I thought you had been invited to the show at one point. You never actually did get an invitation.
I was
Okay.
not invited on the show.
All right. Well, that's a shame. I thought that had been. I knew you had been.
Well, the offer is still on the table. Valerie's ready. If Ellen wants to give her a call, she's ready
That's
to.
right. I'm
get
ready
on the show.
anytime, Ellen. You're my best friend, Ellen. So give me a call.
And now, also, what you were able to put on was what America's Got Talent with Simon Cowell and
Twice.
yeah. So you were on that, and they do document that. So those of you who got a chance to see Valerie on that show, there's a lot of backstage intrigue that goes on with that. And again, very interesting the way that you felt like you were somewhat manipulated by that show.
Well,
Ellen,
they manipulate everybody, not just me.
Yeah. Well, Ella, when you saw what was going on with her when you were filming it, did you feel like she was being, used, as it were?
I mean, it's network television, so I think it would be naive to say that there was no agenda in place. I don't think that you can call it abuse, because, you know, you voluntarily go on the show, but
Right.
there's always some sort of storyline that, you know, network TV is trying to push that they've already mapped out in the first place.
I don't know if you ever saw the musical Bandstand, but essentially they go through a situation where they're looking for an original band to represent on a show, and they have them do an original piece that they have, and then they have them sign over that piece to them in order to have it broadcast, and they end up being the owners of that piece, that song. And I think that's kind of what they couldn't do that to Valerie with the original piece, but when they had her reorchestrated, if you will, remix it, right, that they could then say, well, that's ours in some way, that they owned it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about. Did you want to say something, Valerie, or?
Go ahead.
I think that when it comes in terms of power, I think that's when it can be a predatory position, because they clearly have more power than Valerie has. Obviously, Valerie, you know, we were all aware of the situation we were entering into, but the way that they control or manipulate the narrative is the point of contention, because they have the power, they have the resources, and they have the ability to be able to coerce the narrative. So I think that was where the crux of the problem was. Enable, you know, they were in a position to highlight Valerie as a performer, but instead, I think they used the situation to benefit. And I felt really that they were trying to they filmed a lot more stuff that was never shown. I think they really tried to make Valerie into, like, you know, the comedic act of the week. But then I felt like the more time they were spending with Valerie, they were figuring out that, you know, this performance is layered. It's not just like kooky, I'm going to show up in the middle of the park and perform this, you know, silly act. That there's a craftsmanship, that there's a story there. And I think that that's probably when they retreated, and, you know, because they weren't able to control the narrative the way that they initially had intended to.
Right. And I don't want to give away any of the plot there, but, you know, suffice it to say that if anybody's interested in seeing how it all turns out, that you should definitely see the film. Again, we're talking about Nobody May Come, and we're talking tonight with Ella and Stiven, who are the two filmmakers, and also the subject of the film, Valerie Sassyfras, who's here with us as well. Again, my name is Alan Smason. I'm on with you, NOLA Theater Talk. We do this on every Monday and Friday. Basically, took a week off last week for Thanksgiving, but thank you very much for being with us tonight. We also broadcast this to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the Theater Criticism Facebook page, as well as the YouTube channel that I have. And again, the idea being that we are able to live stream this, and hopefully people will enjoy it. And I guess I should go to the next clip real quick, because we're rapidly getting to the time where we're going to end up having to say goodbye. So this is another piece. This is before we were talking about America's Got Talent. This is the actual prior piece to America's Got Talent. And I'm going to end up wanting to share this out as well, but I've got to make sure I go to the right scene, and just give me a second here while we get it all rolled up for you. And there we go. Now, this is right before getting ready to go on America's Got Talent, so hopefully not much will be lost in this. There we go.
That was kind of rough. I like it to be sort of a mohawk look, but I don't really know what it looks like back there. We twist and twerk till dawn. Put your hands together, y'all. I want to bring my song Girls Night out to the world, and I think it's going to be a big hit, and this is my time, and, you know, that kind of stuff. That's what she wanted to hear. So that's what I gave her. I guess I can be bought and paid for like other people. Up to a point, you know.
What's the point?
point is to get on the damn show. That's the point.
And you did. And you did.
But like going back to, I was on the show twice. So the first time I did the girls' night out, the second time they said, okay, which song do you want to sing? I gave them a list of 50 songs, but I highlighted T-Rex, I highlighted Hide the Pickle, and some others. But no, they wanted girls' night out again. But then they set me up because when I was on the show, they said, well, this sounds too much like the other song. Well, it was the same song. They just have their guy go in there and speed it up a little bit and add a few extra chords and have somebody else sing the backing track to make it seem different.
Yeah, but doing it, they then take ownership of that piece, right? That it becomes their piece.
I thought they were going to, but I ended up getting the benefit of the song.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, good. There are some pieces, and I know we're getting towards the end. There are some pieces of this film which hit some pretty tough notes for you, Valerie. And I don't want to give away all of it, but there's some loss that you experience in the film. The death of a very close member of your family, difficulty in getting along with other members of your family, being taken advantage in many ways, and also you're feeling like you didn't have a chance to have closure. So I mean, all of that's brought out. I mean, do you feel like that was okay? Did you feel like it was something that you were okay with them capturing during that period of your life?
Yeah, because I was going through it and it was unavoidable. It was in the music. It was part of my life. And my mother being taken away from me was a big deal. And I mean, I was in a rage when it happened because I was completely cut off from her. So I couldn't contact her in any way, shape, or form. And here she had been living with me for 6 months. And we were spending all of our time together.
I do remember, knowing about that because, you and I were in contact at that point. Again, a difficult time. And again, Ella and Steven, I assume that you were not knowing about that when you started filming. You found out about it was a lot more.
Yeah,
poignant, right?
That wasn't the draw. That wasn't why we wanted to tell the story. We weren't necessarily interested in the original concept I had for the movie. Actually, was that we would get this stage, which is it's funny being in theater talk, but we would hire this stage and we would just have her perform her songs full out. That would maybe highlight 6 or 7 songs that would play out in their entirety. And so the focus was to have the music be at the center, and I think it still is, but it's kind of woven now into the scenes of her daily life. And I think that being with Val, figuring out all the stories about what inspires her and what causes her to write the music, I think it felt inevitable. It wasn't a choice. It was scripted for us.
Well, again, it does have a lot of poignancy. It's very heartfelt, and those that actually see the entire movie, I think will be moved by it. There's no doubt that this is not made up. It's not scripted, and it comes across as very real and very heartfelt. So again, whether it was intended or not, it does capture an aspect of her personality that probably might have been intuited through her songs, but you really know the background when you see it. And again, it's a part of the film that I found I was very attracted to, that you all captured not just her pain and her anguish, but you captured that moment in time that will always be there in that film and forever maintained. Knowing that we only have a few minutes left, I just want to first off thank Valerie for being here tonight. And I know you probably want to get a little plug in. I don't know where you're going to be appearing in the next couple of weeks or so. I don't know. You taking time off?
Weather is good. I'm going to be at Tippertina's this Saturday, 12 to 2, for Bloody Mary lunch or Bloody Mary Saturday. So that's going to be this Saturday, 12 to 2 on Tippertina's sidewalk. So I get to headline Tippertina's, guys. Can you believe it?
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
Finally.
cool. And Steven,
Yeah.
where do you think you're going to show the film next?
We don't know. We have right now. The future is uncertain. Nobody may come to another screening.
You did it. Oh God.
You go there.
There it is.
Ella, we're going to get him on that one.
There it is.
I had to have it in there, but I wanted to say like what I thought of that I hadn't. I mean, we did meet in theater school, so that's a big part of, because I feel in a way the theater guy feels like this is sacrilegious to have a movie on theater talk discussion.
The reason I told you, I said that there's nothing that's not theatrical about Valerie. I've known her so long,
absolutely. But our background is in theater. That's the whole funny part of it. And the thing that I hadn't thought of prior to this until we started playing the rehearsal clip is that one of our first collaborations was Ella making a documentary of me directing a theater show. I was directing a show by Fassbinder, and she made a film about it. And it all made sense as to why we had such an interest in showing the behind the scenes aspect of it rather than just the, and at that point it wasn't until an intellectual thought. It was just, we were doing it because it was happening. But I thought that might be
well, again, I want to congratulate you. Nobody May Come is now an award-winning film. There's no way around that. You have that honor to trumpet. And again, the subject, we know, Valerie, we appreciate, you being here and being a part of their lives as much as they were a part of yours. And I know they probably got in the way a little bit every now and then when you were maybe in a bad space that, there was a camera in your face you had to deal with.
I have to say, when they left, I missed them not being here.
Okay. Man, I don't doubt it.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Where's Popeyes and where's Ella and Steven?
Right. And so Ella, as far as as Steven said, you're not sure where the next entry will be, but hopefully in another film festival soon we'll be able to hear more about it. And I definitely want you to keep me posted and keep the members of the New Orleans theater community posted as to any other showings that might be. When and if it goes into a regular distribution, maybe, or goes into a streaming service, we want to know about it so we can, share the good news. And again, that's fantastic that you all are starting out. I know that you're going to be doing some other things sometime soon that you may not be able to talk about it right now, but it's fantastic to see your great work receive, the accolades that it's due. To see Valerie elevated, insofar as being the subject of a film, and again, New Orleans may not figure into it as much as in some other films, but I think that there is a running thread of New Orleans culture that goes through it as well. That Steven, I think you can appreciate, and I'm sure that Ella also, having been here, in the past, can say, yeah, that is sort of a minor character to this film as well. The texture and the culture of New Orleans really does shine through.
I mean, we did take a Tennessee Williams class together. We read every Tennessee Williams play together in a class. So we have New Orleans theater runs.
We did.
That's
Forgot about that class.
So it all makes sense somehow.
Well, again, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, and I want to remind everybody that we've got some more shows coming up. A week from tonight, December the 7th, Leslie Castet, the Queen of New Orleans Cabaret, will be on our show. Of course, Leslie is a great director and actor in her own right. She's going to be talking about a cabaret show she's going to be doing at Le Petit, and we'll talk a little bit about Crazy World. That's the name of it. We'll talk about that. And again, I want to thank once again Stiven and Ella and Valerie for being on the show tonight. And I'm going to ask y'all just to stick around while I say goodnight to everybody else. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for being here again on NOLA Theater Talk. Again, part of the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. We also broadcast to the theatercriticism.com Facebook page and also to the YouTube channel that we have. Again, my name is Alan Smason, and I want to thank you for being with me tonight. And I will see you, as always, at the theater.